Greetings from Santa Rosa, California. And you know, as I've traveled around the world, almost every city you come to has something interesting to share. And Santa Rosa is absolutely no exception. And one of the more interesting to share here is a California historical landmark. This is the Luther Burbank Home and Gardens. And I thought I would take you on a nice walk through the gardens. The home is actually closed, as is the greenhouse, but nonetheless I will be able to share quite a bit of it with you. I think I've actually done a video here before, but never with one of my stabilizers. So as I walk into the main entrance, I'll just read a little bit about Luther Burbank. He was born March 7th, 1849, and he died April 11th, 1926. And he was an American botanist, horticulturist, and pioneer in agricultural science. He developed more than 800 strains and varieties of plants over his 55-year career. Burbank's varied creations included fruits, flowers, grains, grasses, and vegetables. He developed a spineless cactus used for cattle feed and the plum cod. I'm actually reading this from Wikipedia. Burbank's most successful strains and varieties include the Shasta Daisy, the Fire Poppy, the July Alberta Peach, the Santa Rosa Plum, the Flaming Gold Nectarine, the Wixon Plum, the Freestone Peach, and the White Blackberry. A natural genetic variant of the Burbank potato with russet-colored skin later became known as the russet Burbank potato. This large brown-skinned, white-fleshed potato has become the world's predominant potato in food processing. The russet Burbank potato was in fact invented to help with the devastating situation in Ireland following the Irish potato famine. There you go, Harry and Amy. This particular potato variety was created by Burbank to help revive the country's leading crop, as it is slightly late blight resistant. Late blight is a disease that spread and destroyed potatoes all across Europe, but caused extreme chaos in Ireland due to high dependency on potatoes as a crop by the Irish. So as you come in, there's the sign, famed horticulturist Luther Burbank. He worked on this property for most of his 50-year career, and the gardens are open every day from 8 to 7 p.m. April through October, and 8 to 5 November through March. And it's no admission to come into the actual gardens itself, but if you want to take a tour of the home or the greenhouse, there is a charge for that. But as I walk through, I'll just point out a couple things here. There's just inside the main entrance here is the rose garden. So here's the rose garden here, and all the roses have different names. Rosa, Touch of Class. There's Rosa, Rosie the Riveter. Rosa, Diamond Jubilee. Rosa, Celebrity. And over here you have Rosa Betty Boop. Right there. That's the Rosa Betty Boop. So this would be the rose garden here at the Luther Burbank Home and Gardens. All types of names here. Rosa, Life of the Party. California Dreamin' are some of the names. This is the Rosa Chris Everett. Here's the Rosa About Face. Here's the Ingrid Bergman rose. What a beautiful day it is. And here is the Rosa 4th of July, right here. Yeah. All right. And then Just over here, this would be the, well, this is the cutting garden over here. During the half century that Mrs. Elizabeth Burbank lived here after Luther Burbank's death, she always kept a garden to provide fresh, long-lasting blossoms for her home. Today's cutting garden includes varieties similar to those available to her in the early 20th century and some varieties similar to those that her husband introduced. So here's the cutting garden. It's going to be nice to share this with you because I don't know if I'm going to make it to Butchard Gardens up in British Columbia this trip, which I had hoped to do, but who knows, maybe I will make it up there. It's really wonderful that you can actually just walk inside and they don't charge for this. Over here you have some medicinal herbs. A century ago, home gardens usually included a variety of herbs planted for their medicinal uses. Healing properties and methods of use differed with each plant. Various plant parts were used, either the roots, flowers, seeds, or leaves. Because other parts of the same plant are often poisonous, it was, and is today, very important to know which part of the plant was used and how it was prepared and administered. Luther Burbank experimented with and improved many of the plant types shown in this bed. Although grown for their medicinal use in his time, several can be recognized as common flowers popular in today's perennial borders. I see some rosemary there. I'm sure my friend Phil up in central Michigan is appreciating this tour. And coming down here, you have the this would be the north demo beds right here. Alstroemeria. Luther Burbank worked extensively with members of the lily family and its relatives, especially popular in Victorian gardens. These included Alstroemeria. I'm not even going to try to pronounce some of those names. They have an audio tour, and you can take it. Actually, the phone number for the audio tour is 707-623-1055. So you can dial 707-623-1055 and you'll get the audio tour. These are poppies. Mr. Burbank worked with selecting and hybridizing many varieties of poppies from 1892 through 1922. He grew several California natives, including Arganemone. Boy, I'm not. You gotta forgive me for the names on these. Almost as tough as trying to pronounce some of the words in the Hungarian vocabulary. Balkan Swiss chard and winter rhubarb. He developed 3 types of Swiss chard. One called rainbow Swiss chard was said to have crimpled and pitted leaves similar to savory cabbage. Gladiolas. He began working with gladiolas in 1882 at Gold Ridge Farm in Sebastopol. He raised them on a large scale, growing them by the acre, which afforded him abundant material for selection. At the time, the gladiolus was a rather unpopular flower, having short-lived blooms, slender stalks, small, half-open flowers, and long distances on the stalks between the flowers. Within the course of a few years, Mr. Burbank improved the plant so well that it became highly prized by gardeners all over the United States. That's something. Here you've got, looks like strawberries, I think. Some type of berry. You got blackberries and columbine. Boy, for folks that have a green thumb, this really is a paradise for you to come and spend some time. This tree right here is this tree is I'm looking for the name. It's the Paradox Walnut. This is actually the last thing that Luther Burbank planted here. Look at this. There's a story behind it. The Paradox walnut was developed by Luther Burbank for its rapid growth and beautiful fine-grained wood. It was introduced in 1893 after 7 years of experimentation. Burbank crossed the Persian walnut with the Northern California black walnut. This tree was planted by Mr. Burbank in 1914. In 1938, the tree was damaged when the carriage house caught fire. What you're looking at is a stumpy sprout growing against the original trunk. The young Paradox walnut nearby was started from a tip cutting off the matriarch tree. Isn't that something? Looks like they have some benches here that are dedicated to Donald E. Bowen, who taught us nature's wonders lovingly. Nancy David Wayne Joyce. In loving memory of Dorothea T. Brew. In memory of Lai Young Hui. Here they have the Carriage House Museum and Gift Shop. You can come and take home some souvenirs. This would be the house. Here is the Luther Burbank home right here. Look at that. Very nice. Here's the backyard. Unfortunately, I can't take you inside at the moment, but I can show you a good portion of the rear of the home, and we'll walk around the side. tree right here is a Japanese maple.
Okay.
Taking a precious little, taking some baby pictures. Couple.
So handsome.
We got a couple twins there in a little basket. Well, here is a copper beech, and there's no wonder why they call it that. It almost looks metallic, and I don't know how well you can actually see that, but it's almost metallic looking. Maybe if I pan up a little bit and give you a different angle, you can see. Almost looks unreal. And here would be the front door of the home. Front porch, if you will. Rather modest residence. There's actually a Luther Burbank wanted to be buried under a tree, and the tree that he's actually buried right here, I was told just a little bit earlier. So Luther Burbank is somewhere underfoot, right in this very property, and his ashes, I think, of his wife are here as well as maybe some other family members. Some other beautiful flowers. It's a nice view of the home. This would have been his greenhouse right here. Look at that. And that's the greenhouse. Very nice. I don't know if you can actually see. We've got a wire mesh right here, but there's a vault inside. You actually see some grapes. You can see some grapes up there.
They're growing.
I believe just over here they have the memorial garden. These beautiful flowers. Over here you have this is the sensory garden. Luther Burbank was visited by many famous people who flocked to the site to see the plant wizard in action. One of those people was Helen Keller. After visiting Mr. Burbank in 1925, she wrote, "He has the rarest of gifts, the receptive spirit of a child. Only a wise child can understand the language of flowers and trees." The small garden is dedicated to the friendship that formed between Luther and Helen upon her visit. It features plants that appeal to our alternative senses, specifically smell, touch, and taste. Employ your senses to this garden. Feel the difference in leaf types and smell the aromatic oils they produce. That's something. Now we're finding our way into the memorial garden here. These actually look like some type of like an artichoke. Look at that. Very nice. Quite a large property. This is the Plum Orchard. Luther Burbank's work with stone fruits resulted in the astonishing development of more than 250 cultivars of plums, prunes, plumcots, and pluots. 2012, this orchard was planted with some of his best-known plum varieties. The Wixon, introduced in 1892, the Burbank, introduced in 1888, and the justly famed Santa Rosa, introduced in 1906, which has grown commercially as a universal pollinator. Very nice. Over here they have the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Got some wonderful pictures. This is a picture of the inside, 1979. Was when the home was open for tours. Next best thing to actually taking you in. 35 to 55, Santa Rosa Junior College manages the Santa Rosa Garden until ownership is transferred to the city of Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa Junior College is a wonderful school that I actually went to. Look at this. Here's some of his varieties: the Santa Rosa plum, the Burbank potato, sugar prune, gold ridge apple, spineless cacti, plumcot. This is his wedding picture. 1916, he marries Elizabeth Waters. at that. Trying to get a good focus. There you go. (1915) Luther Burbank visits at his Santa Rosa home with Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. Look at that. Thomas Edison, Henry Ford. Here's where he was designing his greenhouse. He arrived in Santa Rosa in 1875, and this is what it looked like back then. And it's hard not to see the glare. There you go. That's what Santa Rosa looked like back in the day. Here he is in 1877. Very nice. You got some sunflowers over there. I see some corn growing. I think I will wrap up this video by showing you the spineless cacti that he cultivated, bred, whatever the word is that you might want to use for it. I wonder if my friend Phil in Michigan has done any of this kind of stuff. Look at this. Is that something or what? There's a little heart-shaped cacti. Look at that. Try to take you inside. All right, so that'll wrap up your tour to the Luther Burbank home and gardens here in Santa Rosa, California. Hope you enjoyed it. Definitely worth coming through and taking a moment to share this with you.